ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure and honor to get this young man on the call. He's just moved up to the southern part of the Washington State, right across the border from Oregon. He left the Bay Area, was an actor down there, was a bartender, did some acting, did very well for himself. And his lovely wife decided, you know what, I want to move with my horses up a little bit. I got a little more land. And every time I go see him on a trip, he's always got his daughter with him, which I think is a great father and daughter trip together. She have memories. She'll be able to tell her kids and her grandkids about the trips that she took with her daddy. Without further ado, everybody, can we give a warm welcome to this Thursday, the one and only Mr. Regional Vice President, Mr. Dean Tarrolly.
You guys, so I'm glad to be with you this morning, but Mr. T, I got to tell you something. This is not what I was going to train on, but what you just said, this is the, look, I guess I'm just weird this way. Like, I hear things and I relate them to what we do. I hear things when I really pay attention to a speaker, I hear them and then I'll relate it to what we do. So let me tell you guys what he just said. Couple things. Number one, he was prepaying for his experience. He's prepaying with the tip for the experience that he's going to have. But in ACN, a lot of people don't do that. They want to get paid and then they'll do the work. Right? They want to get paid and then they'll do the work. If I'm doing the work, you're paying me. It doesn't work that way. Does that make sense, you guys? Here's the other thing. Mr. Thomas is setting up what to expect from his trip. What are you setting up to expect from your business? What are you setting up? I mean, are you really focused on what it is that you're doing? Are you focused on your business? Are you focused on, right, to get the most out of it? Are you even focused right now? I mean, a lot of people have their cameras on. A lot of you don't. I don't know. I don't know what people are doing. I don't know if you're having side conversations. I don't know if you're having a conversation with someone else or if you're listening to what I'm saying. I don't know. But I do know this, is that in what we do, not only does there need to be an acceptance, but you have to embrace the fact that you're going to pay up front. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about moving schedules around. I'm talking about being a volunteer in your team, helping the leadership do what they're going to do on your behalf, because you're going to be a benefactor of it. But a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand that getting paid, P, only it comes ahead of W only in the alphabet. Like, you got to do the work first, right? And so, Mr. Thomas, it's actually a great thing that you do. And let me tell you something. I was a server for a lot of years. I was behind the bar serving you guys drinks for almost 2 decades between New York and LA. And let me tell you something. Here's the other lesson. Besides prepaying, which is what he did on that cruise to get his experience, let me tell you the second thing. And some of you guys are not taking notes. Maybe some of you are. But number one is prepaying for what it is that you want. Here's the second thing to remember from what Mr. Thomas just said. People will always remember how you treated them. They will remember how you treated them. Are you a whiner? Are you a complainer? Do you find an issue with everything? Or are you a person that kind of rises above that and goes, in spite of those things, here's how I'm acting. And so we know there's going to be challenges. We know there's going to be hurdles and bumps and setbacks. You guys, let me tell you something. If there weren't hurdles and challenges and setbacks in what you're doing is probably not that big a deal. Who understands what I just said? If there are not hurdles, challenges, and setbacks in what you're doing, then I'm telling you what you're doing may not be that big of a deal. I always use the example of getting a meal at 7-Eleven. Now, it's convenient and it's easy, but it probably ain't that great. It'll satisfy a need. It'll satisfy a need for a second. But that's it. So when I go into what I'm going into today, I'm going to take it back a couple weeks and what we've covered so far. Well, Kush, I appreciate you saying that. He said, unfortunately, I forgot my notebook. You know what? For those, look, you guys, let me, I'm gonna take the gloves off for a second. You can do with these calls whatever you want. You can pay attention or have side conversations. You can be on camera or you can be off camera. It's entirely up to you. This is your time. But I do know this, the leaders, after a while, it becomes exhausting to go over information again and again that we've covered. And people have the same issues, the same challenges, the same things that all of us have. You guys, we're in the same boat. But are you really dialed in with the handful of minutes that you give this or the handful of hours that you give it every week? Are you dialed in? So that's the first thing I want you to write down right out of my notes. Am I dialed in? Like, let me tell you. So Greg Williamson, he's on this call. He's one of my super close friends. He's a regional director on the team. And Greg was a pro athlete. Greg played Division I college football. And he, thanks, Sarah. It's actually my wife's, and it was a big cup, so I don't have to go back and forth to the kitchen down here in my office. But I appreciate that. Greg was a Division I college football player, and he played pro ball for the Rams. Let me tell you something. I can tell in less than a couple minutes if someone's dialed in. And if he's not dialed in on the field, the running back is either going to get past him or somebody's going to blindside block him and he's going to get his head knocked off because he's not dialed in. So look, I don't care if you're focused right now or not, but I want you to hear this from me. You guys are either going to focus with me for about 10, 15, 20 minutes or you're not. And you're going to have side conversations and different texting and all that stuff, or you're going to hear what I'm saying because I'm doing this for one reason. I'm doing this for one reason. I'm doing this for the leadership that's going to get what they want out of this. And that starts with Mr. Thomas. Isn't it funny when Mr. Thomas hosts this call, he's always taking notes. So let's talk about this for a second. You have a senior vice president that any company would kill to get them in their roster. You have a senior vice president taking notes, and you have executive team leaders that are committing this to memory. Go figure. Go figure. It makes no sense to me. You have a senior vice president taking notes from a regional vice president, and you have executive team leaders that are committing these trainings to memory. So here's what that leads me to, which is really important. The first call that we did 2 calls ago, I talked about the relationship between freedom and discipline. Everybody wants freedom. So few people are willing to be disciplined to get it. And then they confuse them. And they don't understand that your freedom comes from discipline. Your freedom comes from having a structure. Your freedom comes from being consistent. And then people go, well, man, that doesn't really sound like freedom. It's absolutely freedom. The problem is if someone is cutting your check, now you're doing it for someone else's dream. And if you're going to be committed to something and you want freedom, then you have to have some self-discipline to do things to move your business forward. This goes back, I don't remember who I had this conversation with a few months ago, and I don't know, it might have been, it might have been Red, it might have been, I don't remember. But I was like, look, someone texted me and they said this. This is crazy to me, you guys. This is crazy. They're saying that, God, now see, you guys are getting me all worked up, and I got to get my hat backwards here. So listen, let me tell you. Someone said to me on the team, and they've been around for a minute, they're like, hey, I just want to let you know I peaked someone today. Well, isn't that what we're supposed to do? Like, alert the press. Like, congratulations, you did what you're supposed to do. You did what no, I know it wasn't you, Red. I just think I had the conversation with you. It's like, you guys, like, let's have a locker room conversation. We're in the middle of football season, basketball season just started, hockey season just started. This is sports time. Guess what? These are locker room conversations. Write this down. It's not even in my notes. Write this down. For those of you taking notes, write this down. Did I do my job? And the job is for you. The job is for your team. It's not for a boss who's buying you wholesale and selling you retail. Did I do my job today? You got to write the word today down. Did I do my job today? Now, look, I don't care. I don't care if nobody looks at the business today for you. What I care about is that you peak 10 people. Do you think I care about the number of no's that you get? No, I don't give a rip. You know why? Because if you talk to enough people, guess what? Someone's saying yes. Why? Because you did. Why? Because I did. Why? Because Mr. Thomas did. So what I really care about is, are you putting yourself out there? Good, Luann. She just put today in caps. You know, did I do my job today? Oh, but this and that, you don't understand. And I had this happen and that happened. I just couldn't do my job today. Really? Did you do your job today? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Right? And look, you guys, we've had a lot of success stories. I'm going to talk about one that we're going through right now. And you guys have heard me bring up names over the course of the years that I've been doing this. I mentioned two of them today. You've heard me talk about Red before. You've heard me talk about Greg before. You've heard me talk about other people before. People who made a decision and got things done. You guys, Marvetta, who's on this call, we have some funny conversations. Hey, Marvetta, I see your coffee. Me too. I'm with you, lady. I'm with you. You know, you look way cooler with me than with your hair and your whatever you got on your head, but I had to turn my baseball cap backwards to try to catch up. Gloria's over there laughing at me. Let me tell you guys something. Marvetta had 30 seconds of courage and got me on a Zoom with a really significant person, a decision maker in a city not far from where she lives, to talk about municipal gas and electricity. Do you guys understand that doesn't happen if she doesn't have 30 seconds of courage? So let me ask you a question. What's your excuse? Because guess what? They run out. It's like gas in a gas tank. Excuses run out. So what happens is, if people don't do what they set out to do, their excuses, you guys, oh God, I hope you get this. When people don't do what they said they were going to do, their excuses become justifications. And they start justifying why they can't or didn't do what they said they were going to do. And that is a dangerous place to be. Because now what you're doing is you're justifying inactivity. So the first thing I talked about this month was the relationship between freedom and discipline. And you guys, I'm not trying to be cliche here, but when you're easy on yourself, life is hard. And when you're hard on yourself, life is easy. You go, well, I don't want to be hard on myself. Really? Really? Why not? That's where achievement comes in. That's where achievement comes in, where you're disciplined, where you are hard on yourself. Now, am I saying beat yourself up and put yourself down? I never said that. In fact, I can't stand that. Like, give me a break. Put on your big boy pants and your big girl pants. Give me a break. I was going to say something else and I didn't. But come on, like, give me a break. Look, take the punch to the gut, take a second, get back up. Right? What was the Taylor Swift song? Shake it off. Just shake it off. Who cares? But a lot of you, what you do, and a lot of people, what they do is, when they don't have the discipline required to do the things that need to happen to give you a chance to have that freedom that we all work towards, then they start justifying, and then something else happens. They start majoring in minors. They start spending this time in non-income producing activities in ACN, which leads to drama, which always is tied to politics. I'm not talking about the election. And next thing you know, you're trying to figure out what this ACN business is, how it works, and why you're not making any money yet. And you guys, I'm telling you right now, that is a freaking fact. So the second thing to understand between the relationship of freedom and discipline are the expectations that you have. And I talked about that last week. So when we talk about expectations, why am I going over this with you? Because I want you to get this message today. If your expectations are not in alignment with your effort, you are fooling yourself. Now, you guys, what we do, is it difficult? It is not. Go talk to some people, get them on the phone with Al. Go talk to some people, get them on the phone with Mr. Clemens. Go talk to some people, get them on the phone with Harrison. Go talk to some people, get them on the phone with Greg Williamson. Go talk to some people, get them on the phone with Red. Go talk to some people, get them on the phone with Baker. Go talk to some people and get them to the leader that you are working with. You guys, like, this is not difficult stuff. Which leads me to what I want to tell you today. There is something very important that you guys have to have clarity. In my opinion, I'm just one guy. You know, you can take what I'm saying, throw it out the window. It's your choice. You can do what you want. But I'm telling you guys, and I couldn't get this thought out of my head in terms of what we were going to talk about today. And that is the relationship between being committed and being interested. And let me tell you, the environment of ACN is so amazing, and it is so magical, and it is so wonderful, and it is so supportive, and all of those things. Who in the heck wouldn't want to be interested? So you have to do some self-scouting. And for those of you who have been, like, I've trained for a long time, I talk about self-scouting all the time. You want to figure out your vulnerabilities, you need to self-scout. You want to figure out your strengths, you need to self-scout. You need to scout your own talents and what it is that you're doing. But let me tell you guys something. You need to self-scout. Are you an interested IBO or are you a committed IBO? And I'm going to give you something that is going to be very direct. Mr. Thomas, can you hear me? Make sure he can hear me. Oh, maybe he has a reception issue. I don't know. Maybe he had to jump off. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. Thanks, Rick. Here's the deal, you guys. Oh, listen. By the way, show of hands. Are you guys with me? For those of you who do have your cameras on? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Check this out. Check this out. Here goes. Here goes. Mr. Clemens, I may or may not call on anybody on here, so I hope that maybe you're by mission control and you can help me with that part. So check it out. You need to self-scout yourself. Over this last week, were you interested or were you committed? And let me tell you something. Don't answer too fast. Do not answer too freaking fast. Here's why. You and I might see it differently. And that's real. You and I might see it very differently. It is so easy to think about ACN and you feel like you're doing ACN. You're not doing any ACN. You're thinking about ACN. You're getting ready to do ACN. You're plugging into calls about ACN. You're plugging on to Zooms like this about ACN, right? Did you get a customer? Did you pique someone's interest? Did someone get presented to on your behalf? That's doing ACN. Did you get someone registered for the event? Did you get someone registered for Tahoe? That's doing ACN. Getting a customer, piquing someone's interest, presenting the business, getting someone registered for the event. That's doing ACN. If you did not do one of those four things, you did not do any ACN this week. That's it. That's all I got to tell you. So let's be black and white about this. Let's be black and white. So there's no gray area. Are the things that we do in terms of being on these calls important? They are tremendously important. They are super important to be in an environment, but it's not doing ACN. You want to know why? I'm going to explain to you. Show of hands, who wants to know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because I went onto my reports this morning, and you know what I didn't find on any of the reports? Was I on Al Thomas's call? Nowhere. Nowhere on the reports. You know what wasn't on the report? What was I on? We do a Monday overview and training and a Wednesday overview and training on Zoom, and we do a Saturday morning training, presentation and training on Zoom. And guess what? That was nowhere on the reports. Nowhere. And I kept looking on the reports for it. And you know what I found? Did I get any customers? Did I get any new team members? And do I have anybody registered for the events? That's what I found on the reports. And I'm like, well, God, that's crazy. If that's all they're tracking, hang on, you guys, here comes the light bulb. If that's all they're tracking, that must mean that's how we get paid. Oh, wait a minute. So it's not by being super helpful person. It's not by being super lovely person. It's not, no. Now, should you be those things? Of course. Of course. But there's no column there, you guys. There's no report for did I attend the Zoom? It's not on there. What's on there is did I get customers? Did I build a team, and did I get people registered for the events? That's what's on there. So if those are the three things if those are the three things that pay you, getting customers, building teams, and getting people to the event. So now you're duplicating yourself. Now the question to ask yourself is this. Honestly, this last week, was I committed or was I interested in ACN? Let me tell you guys something. If your reports didn't change, now I'm not saying you didn't work, and I'm not saying you didn't peak people, and I'm not saying you didn't present. Maybe you got some no's, timing issue, and weren't interested. But I'm telling you guys this. If your report didn't change over the last week, there is a 92.5% chance that you didn't do anything. Now, could you fall into the 7.5%? They're like, man, I worked my tail off, and for whatever reason, I had 6 presentations. I talked to 4 people about being customers, and for some reason, the stars didn't align, and I didn't get any of those things on the books. Guess what? You do that again this week, you're going to have 3 reps and 10 customers. Why? Because it's a numbers game. It is a numbers game. So it's very interested. It's very easy for us to see who's interested and who's committed. Now, you guys, hang on. Let me open this here. Now, don't laugh if you guys hear all the ducks. Hold on a second here. Hang on. There we go. So now, you guys, are you in trouble if you had a week that you were an interested IBO and not a committed IBO? No, you're not in trouble. Not with me. But it does let us know where to spend our time. Isn't that true? It does let us know where to spend our time, because if you're calling and you're like, Dean, I have a peak, I have a presentation, I have a 3-way call, I have a follow-up call, and that call is coming in, and at the exact same time, I have a call coming in and it's about learning something in the back office. Is the back office call important? Yes or no? Yeah, right. Kind of like maybe it could be. And by the way, will I get to that call? Yes, I will. But you are calling with a rep. You are calling with a customer. You are calling. That is business building. And I want you guys to look back over the course of this last week. Did I have an interested ACN week, or did I have a committed ACN week? And based on what you are, yeah, Rick goes, in trouble with yourself. You're in trouble with yourself. Look, listen, you guys, look, I'm not going to ground you. I'm not going to ground you. You can be on Al's call tomorrow. You can do whatever you want. I'm not going to ground you. You should ground you. Like, that's it. No more ho-hos until I get a customer. No more chocolate chip cookies until I get a rep. That would be difficult for me because that's my favorite. No nuts in chocolate chip cookies, by the way. No nuts. That is not a chocolate chip cookie. No nuts. So sorry if I'm offending chocolate chip cookie with nuts people, but I'm just telling you. Now, my point is this. Well, you guys, we got to have some fun doing this. Now, look it. I have it right in my notes for you here, right here, right here. What did you do? You guys, please get this. What did you do differently this last week than the previous week? What did you do differently? Now, if what you did 2 weeks ago was working, I hope you did the exact same thing last week. But if what you did 2 weeks ago was not working for you, I hope you adjusted and changed and moved and shifted and did things differently this previous week. Now, so you guys, if the results you got this last week did not advance your business to put it in the direction of where you want to go, and you are really committed to wanting that to happen, you are committed to changing it this week. You have to. Is this conversation landing on anybody or no? You guys, look. You guys have heard me say this part before. Greg Provenzano, president of our company, said, the older you get, isn't it funny? You're welcome, Kush. Isn't it funny? The older we get, the days are long, but the years are short. The days are long, man. It's only 12:30 on the East Coast. It's only 9:30 on the West Coast. It's gonna be a long day. Yeah. How fast has this year gone by? Who remembers at the beginning of the year, we're talking about, oh my God, November's going to be crazy. We're going to have this election. The people that are running aren't even the same. Now, look, this is not a political conversation. I'm just telling you, time goes by fast. My kid was in a stroller 20 minutes ago. She's got her driver's license. She flew her mom to Maine and Rhode Island and Vermont to look at the trees. I'm managing the farm alone. By the way, that's a whole other set of issues, and y'all don't have time for that conversation. I'm just telling you right now. You do not, you do not have time for that conversation. But I am going to tell you this. Listen, please, you guys, please hear me. If what you did last week did not move your business forward with one of those 4 things that I mentioned, you have an amazing opportunity to double up from last week, and you can be right back on track. I'm telling you. If you are a regional coordinator if you're an executive team or team leader on this call, I hope you are obsessed with going regional coordinator. If you're a regional coordinator on this call, I hope you are obsessed with regional director, and you have no idea the difference in the comp plan, even though I've explained it a million times. It's so much better. And if you are a regional director on this call, I hope you are obsessed with getting to regional vice president. People, well, Dean, you make it all about the positions and the money. Absolutely not. That is the result and the reward for helping a lot of people and teaching people the things that we're talking about on these calls. But going back and focusing on getting a customer, piquing someone's interest, presenting the business, and getting them registered for an event. That's it. Let's simplify the business. That's it. That's what we do. So I want you guys to hear from someone really quickly here. This is an amazing story. A lot of people on my team know the story, but a lot of you don't. I have a gentleman on the call who was in ACN years ago and always knew that it worked, but then life happened. I'm not going to ask him to go into the details of that. I'm just telling you, life happened and he had to step away. And he didn't step away for a year or two. Dude was out for almost a decade. You guys agree that things change in almost a decade, yes or no? So he had to literally start, but here's the advantage that he had. And he did have one advantage. He knew ACN worked. So that was out the window. That was not an issue. But everything else, he had 0 points, 0 reps, 0 billing, 0 everything. And he made a decision, and we met I'm in Washington now. I went back to Southern California and we met up. And he literally said, he said, Dean, will you help me? Will you be there every step of the way? I said, yes, I will. So, okay, because I'm doing this and I have some pretty aggressive goals, and we set some goals. So I want to, Mr. Clemens, if you can unmute Corey Rodriguez, or if you can co-host Corey Rodriguez, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate that. Is that possible, sir? Thank you. Wow, man, you're good. So you guys, let me just tell you this. Corey has worked me like a freaking dog. I have been like what are those dogs that pull the sleds in the like, that's how he's worked me. Yeah, husky. Are they huskies? Yeah, dude has worked me like a husky pulling Santa, or like a reindeer pulling Santa's sleigh, or a husky in freaking Alaska. And yet, here's how I can tell you. He's texting me morning, noon, and night. I have this presentation. I have this three-way call. I have this person as a customer. I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. Right? But here's what happened. 2 days ago, we got the alert. Corey went from application and got promoted to regional coordinator in 28 days. That is a story. And that's a story that you all should use. And here's the message. Freaking take this down. Listen up. I'm working with a leadership group, and we have a gentleman who broke records in the company and got promoted to a significant position in our company in less than 30 days. Oh, by the way, he has a job and kids and all that stuff. So, Corey, will you just tell everybody about your experience, what's happened over the course of the last 30 days, and kind of how you're feeling right now? You guys help me welcome on and congratulate newly promoted regional coordinator, Corey Rodriguez.
Thank you, Dean. Can everybody hear me okay?
You're good.
Perfect. So yeah, I'm definitely, thank you very much for all those kind words, Dean. And I have been working you to death, and I appreciate you. Without you, none of this is really possible, right? And I'm super stoked to be back in ACN. The juices are flowing, and but it's interesting because it has been, it was actually 27 days. You said 28, but details matter. No, but look, I just wanted to prove to myself.
Now you guys are getting a sense of who I'm dealing with.
I honestly wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, because I did spend 8 years in ACN, and it took me about 5 years to hit regional director the first time I was in ACN. And I had to hit the reset button a lot. And I'm bringing that up, I guess, because I was listening to you, Dean, and kind of talking about, are you doing ACN? And I stopped and started ACN so many times in 8 years, and that's why my business went a little bit slower. And this time getting started, I just said, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to put in the effort. I'm going to do the activities, and I know it's going to be like this. And I've already had days, right, in that dealing with cell phones, right, not porting. We all know those things that come up, and dealing with a rep that, I don't really want to do this anymore, and you're kind of coaching them back in, and all of this stuff. And I'm like, man, I wish I was peaking people right now. And I'm literally saying that to myself. I could be recruiting right now and getting more Zoom presentations, and I'm worried that my business isn't growing fast enough. And that's my mindset right now. And so Dean actually called me the next morning and said, hey, congratulations on regional coordinator. I said, bro, that's old news. We're going RD, right? And initially I said December. And now I said, no, well, let's go for November. Why not? We're 263 points away from RD. And so I know it's just a matter of helping my team get more customers. But for me, I know it's all about staying in phase one, and if you're not having production right now, because I've been there, you're literally just one person away, right, from a massive explosion on your team. And that happened for me when I was a team coordinator before, and then I eventually went RD in a very short period of time. I actually talked to a very successful person. He introduced me to one guy in Wisconsin. That one guy had a home meeting, had one person there, and his name was Eric Page. And Eric Page and I went out the next day. We signed up 7 people. And Eric Page kind of went away. But it led me to another gentleman who had a home meeting with about 25 people in it. And that turned into 40 IBOs that month. That person eventually went team coordinator, eventually regional director. And cut me off on all the bonuses, by the way. We don't do that anymore, so that's good. Everything's changed. Everything's better, right? The reason I bring up that story is because Eric Page is now back on the team. And he just signed up 2 reps in Pennsylvania, gas and electricity, and the team is off and running. So already we're in Idaho, we're in Wisconsin, and now we're in Pennsylvania, and of course in California. Next is Texas. Going to go on the Texas tour. So anyways, thanks for having me on the call, Dean. Yes, I'm going to continue to work you. I'm on a flight this afternoon. I actually asked Dean, this is a funny story. I said, I upgraded to the Wi-Fi because I think we can do Zooms while I'm on the flight, right? And he said, no, you can't. It's the one thing that doesn't work. And I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't work?
Corey, it's so good. That's a true story. He said, he called me, goes, hey, I want to let you know, I upgraded to Wi-Fi on my flight so we can do Zooms. And I go, bro, I'm sorry to tell you, it doesn't work on the Here's my point. You guys, there's a message in what he said. Corey, I appreciate you. I'm really excited. A couple things there, you guys. Number one, take his story and make it yours. How do you do that? Take his story and make it yours. I'm working with a gentleman in a leadership group. He broke records in the company. I can introduce you to some of the people that are working with him. That's it. That's it. So that's number one. Here's the second thing I want you guys to take away from this. Okay. And this is so important. Please get this before I wrap up. Here's what it is. In his story, here's what he said. God, I wish all your cameras were on. Too bad. Here's what he said in his story. He said, no, not you, Red. You're fine. I know you were coughing. I saw you. I'm not than 30 other people. Listen. Okay. Here's what he said. He said, this person led me to this person who led me to this person. That's the work. That's the work. Someone lead you to someone, lead you to someone. And the language is, who do you know? That's an old Debbie Davis training. Who do you know? Well, I don't really have the time. Well, who do you know that has the time? I don't really have the money. Who do you know that has the money? Well, I'm not really entrepreneurial. Who do you know that's entrepreneurial? Well, I'm not really interested in making extra money. Are you out of your mind? Like I would say that. Right? You know, but who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know till you find them? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know until you find them? Now, everybody has that opportunity. And Corey, a lot of people are giving you congratulations. Let me tell you something. He just worked me. Work the leader that you're working with, and let's lock arms and go build your story. So I want to hear you that. I want you guys to hear this. Enough with Corey. Corey's going to go do what he's going to do. Now it's your story. His story was to inspire your story. His story is to get you to go, you know what? Gloria, Catherine, Marvetta, Cush, Harrison, Raina, Al, Mr. Valdez, Dave, Mark Courtney, Chris McDonald, any of you. Why can't we talk about your story in 30 days? Why can't we see you in Lake Tahoe? He's going to be there. Tony Cooper's going to be there. Red's going to be like, you guys. So look, if you don't know, here it is. Here's the information. It's less than 2 weeks away. And let me bring it up. Guys, let me know if you see my screen. And there's the information. There it is. Sunday, November 3rd, 5 to 9. Monday, November 4th, 9 to 5. We stay over Monday, November 4th, and we check out of the resort Tuesday, November 5th. That's it. There it is. Screenshot this, and I'm going to put my email in the chat so you guys have it. I'm going to leave it up there for a second. You want the information? Hit me up. If not, we're going to be there with Mr. Koupas anyway. Going to be amazing. And I think even more important, because we didn't have the national. So this is going to build us into the end of the year, which is going to take us into the new year. So there you go, you guys. Point is this. Make a decision and recognize in Selfscout, did I have an interested week or did I have a committed week? If you had a committed week and you got the results you were looking for, don't change anything. Keep going. If you did not do what you wanted to do or accomplish what you wanted to accomplish, you get to adjust. That's the beauty and the blessing of this business. Guess what? You can change it today. 30 days from now or less, we're talking about your bonuses, your promotions, the people who you've impacted.